Mr. Hill. Welcome to the
Hello.
Ground Zero podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Mate, my absolute pleasure. It really is. My absolute pleasure. I've been following you on Insta for a while, but I also listened to a few of the podcasts on Spotify, and then I recently caught the kind of intro to the podcast that you put up on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
A while back. Love it. Like, I love that's why I was following you in the first place, to be honest. Like, I love the vision and what you're doing. It kind of resonates with me a lot. So well done on getting it going, and thanks for having me on. I do appreciate it.
No, thank you for coming on. I'm not very good at taking compliments, but thanks very much. Yeah,
no, I'm the same, but that's why I like doing that. I give somebody a compliment because I hate it. I got this. Cheers.
Yeah, exactly the same. Thanks for that.
But every now and again, it's good. It's good to share. It's good to let people know that what they're doing is appreciated and worth.
It's ever growing. It's a work in progress. No, I'm in no rush. Do you know what I mean?
Everything's a work in progress, though, isn't it? Like,
yeah, definitely.
You can't all, that stuff where you try and figure out that you've nailed something or you're good at something. It's not true, is it? It's not like a real thing. Because I'm a monk. I'm still trying to figure out this life. Never mind what I'm doing with myself. It's hard enough, isn't it? So no, mate, just a big congrats to you. It's going well. So the future will only be good.
It is. It's always on the up. It's always on the up. And like you said, everything's a work in progress. And well, life is a work in progress. So you don't want to just settle. You gotta adapt and change and do things that suit you. We'll take as we're both big, huge advocates for mental health, and I think it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Week or month, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's that time of year again. Yeah.
Well, it should be every day, in my opinion, but that's my thoughts on it. But if you take that for an example, like I used to struggle quite a lot, like, and it's no secret, like everybody knows now. The podcast has been out for long enough, and I took to learning and changing and observing and trying to sponge off as many like-minded people as I could, but also people that are far more intelligent than me, that understand how the brain works and things like that. Because I was using antidepressants, which isn't a problem. If people out there are using them, fucking feel free. You know what I mean? If it helps you, it helps you. But for me, it's like I said, when I first stopped taking them, I didn't like feeling numb. I liked the feeling of being sad. I liked the feeling of being happy. But when I was on these little white tablets to get me through the day, I was numb. I wasn't Sean. I wasn't Tommo. I wasn't fucking anyone.
And it's hard when you're
literally that as well. It fucking completely took out the libido as well. I literally wasn't fucking anyone.
Fair enough. I think the science behind all that stuff is good. I think like we develop these medicines and we develop these ways to look after ourselves, but I do believe that there's more that we can do for ourselves before we have to go down those routes. And I think sometimes it's really easy to be put on something before you have maybe fully exhausted everything that's available to you.
I agree on that.
Yeah, and it kind of is where I think that's where your lifestyle, the things you do for yourself, not for anybody else, like the things that you do, the things that you work on every day, going back to that point about things not being perfect and not being like all over it. We don't do that a lot for ourselves, do we? You know, kind of the same people who you put yourself on the back burner a lot of the time.
Oh yeah.
To make everything else for everybody else good. And then you forget about yourself. And then you don't want to be that guy who's being selfish and just doing what you want to do. But sometimes you got to.
Yeah, that's a huge thing with people that suffer, especially with depression, because it's about you, and it does take you into dark holes. Because it is about you, you feel selfish talking about it. Yeah, well, I did anyway. So which is why the massive. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks. Cheers. I'm not. I'm in shit state. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's when you talked about this in that intro video. I think when you go down that path of saying you're all right, looking after everybody else, you're already going quite far down the hole. And that's where you're probably past the stage where you should be asking questions like, am I healthy in general? Am I drinking enough water? Am I doing something? Have I got a hobby? Am I doing exercise? All these different things that give you positive mental health experiences, good things.
Yeah.
You sometimes forget about them because you're doing other things for other people. And before you know it, you're deep down the hole and you need dragging out. And sometimes it's not just your mate who can drag you out. You have to go further. But I think we've got there's a lot before that we can exploit.
Oh,
and that's, your friends, your family. And that's what I see in the military as it's become. It's not even like something to talk about anymore. It's just mental health is what we do now.
Yeah.
Whereas, a long time ago, when we were kind of young in the army, it wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing. It's like 100% wasn't a thing. And it slowly we started to have conversations about what's up with him. What's up with him? Why is he being weird? You didn't even know what it was. You're just like, he's fucked up. But you don't know why. Nobody knew why. It was like, he's fucked up.
Yeah.
Now it's good. We just talk about it. It's not even a thing anymore. It's just part of what we do. And part of what I like about the military is that you can deal with stuff now. You can,
that's a good
whilst
thing.
you're serving. Yeah, like massively now. Whereas it's
massive
not
change.
I still, yeah. I think for like older generation soldiers, seniors, and all that kind of stuff, we probably still struggle a little bit with it because it's what we grew up a different way in the army.
I get that.
Because I can't talk about it. So
I had it when I first came out with the issues that I had. I got a lot of shit from lads that I served with in the regiment. They were like saying I'm basically because I served in the Air Force regiment, so we're hated anyway. And they're like, well, you're an easy target now because you didn't do anything in the regiment. It's like, well, just because I've got a mental health issue doesn't mean it's got anything to do with the regiment. If anything, but it's mad because I had lads that I served with that like old school lads. Well, I say old school, 2008 they would have started, so not that old school, but still in terms of today, done a bit. They're all saying this, and then you get the senior like officers, you might say, were sending me fucking emails saying, Tommo, what you're doing is fucking fantastic. We need more of this in the regiment so that people can understand it more. And it's like one hand I'm getting this praise, the other hand I'm getting fucking digged out by absolute turbo cunts.
I do think we're moving in the right direction with it, but I still think that it's not always. You've got to look after yourself still. So even if you're military and you've got this quite robust system now where you can put your hand up and go, fuck it, I ain't talk to someone because I don't know what's going on. I don't know what it is. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. Who do I go and talk to? And we, like me, for example, I look after blokes. I'm part of the chain of command. I'll go, come here. I'll go and have a brew. That's kind of like the first thing we do. And you figure things out. But there's things that we can look at in ourselves and be a bit more honest with ourselves and do things that will perhaps stop us having to go down that route of medication and seeing doctors. And I think people, because it's such a widely talked about thing now, you forget about the little things that you can do to look after yourself.
Definitely. And there's one thing that I've noticed. There's what's his fucking name? Dr. Alex, that's on Love Island. Or was on Love Island. He's the new mental health ambassador for fucking what I know, the UK, you might say. And he does the thing where you take the picture of your pill and you put it on Instagram to try and normalize people taking pills. And I'm all for that, sure, because obviously a lot of people feel there's still a stigma behind it. Oh, you're fucking popping pills to make sure you're all right. But are you also in turn doing the little things as well? The support groups, the chats, the brew mornings, the fucking exercise fucking plans. Even if you're going for a fucking, I chat quite often with a charity called Tidy Butt, which is a Welsh charity back fucking west. They're very close with Mason Jones and Jack Shaw and Reese Thomas, the Blue Tick Brigade, you might want to say, and they help build it. And I've been chatting to them, and they do the cold water mornings and things like that. They go out in the valleys and find fucking lakes and have that shock treatment and have a chat afterwards, and then walk home afterwards. It's like, they're the things that you need to start with, not
100%.
Because I remember when I first went on them, and I to be fair, I was probably at that point where I needed to do something other than talk, because I wasn't really talking. I was still had that wall up. Mrs.
Exactly
was like,
what I mean. Exactly.
Mrs. was like, right, sort it out. So I phoned the doctors up, and they called me in. And when this is what annoyed me a little bit was they give you a bit of paper and they say, and it's got all these different things on it, like, do you lose your temper quick, etc. How you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how sad are you? On a silly little questions. It's like, hang on a minute, I could put anything there.
Yeah,
and you would give me a prescription for Sterilin or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I was like, there's got to be a bit more to it than that.
You'd like to think there's a conversation, like a full-on conversation about you.
Because the conversation literally was about 2 minutes.
That's what I don't like. And
I was like, I've spoke more about it on my own in the early episodes of the podcast than I did with the doctor.
Well, I noticed this with soldiers back when we first went into lockdown. My initial kind of worry was, what are the blokes doing? And I'm not talking about
idle mind.
What are they doing? But it wasn't just the lads. It was like my friends, my family, but military people. We're very regimented, and we have a schedule basically. Especially as a young bloke or lady, you should get told where to go and what to do. You literally get told. There's a piece of paper that tells you what to do every single day, and that then becomes what you do. You know, you've been in the army, say, a couple of years. You're like, well, I've just got to stay at home. What are we going to do? And we started a little Facebook group called COVID Runner, and the idea of COVID Runner was to do virtual PT. This is an army thing. This is everyone. This is my friends, my family, and we made a Facebook group, and I used to go out on a Saturday and do COVID Runner PT, and it'd be a Zoom call. It was mental. I used to run around with our phones. And hey, all right. We used to have tons of people. Yeah, mate, honestly, tons of people. So I'm trying to scroll I've got all these different squares on my phone of all these different people out running at the same time. And these people aren't runners. They're just like people. But I recognized that we needed to just keep on top of things before people went down the rabbit hole of being sat at home going, this is shit. What am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
And COVID Runner got massive, like hundreds of people on it. And it was so beneficial. Like for me as well, it gave me something to look forward to, gave me something to organize. And it made sure I could catch up with all my mates who I wasn't allowed to see anymore.
Yeah.
And I think it was massive for me. And I know a lot of people benefited from it. And that's what I was talking about with the little things, like taking the time out for yourself to do something you enjoy and have a brew with your mates. You know, at that time it was virtual, so we couldn't have a brew with our mates. We couldn't do any of those things, but you can still do things to like help you out. You can still do things. And I'm not, just getting outside whilst we could, massive. If you're not doing it, you're missing out. Definitely. It's unhealthy to not just, people forget about.
That was a massive thing with COVID itself. Like, we can look back on it now and see the mistakes that the government made and whatnot, and how the lockdowns didn't really work. It's made people worse, if anything, mentally and physically, because you couldn't go to the gym, even though it was beneficial to go to the gym and be healthy.
But that's why I was pushing to people to go outside, because you're allowed to go outside for your physical exercise. So I was trying to get people to go outside, and if you just tell people online, why don't you go for a run? Why don't you go for a walk? Why don't you take your dog out? People like, whatever, mate. But because we put like a scheduled session where people were saying, yeah, I'm going to join into this call, it made people get off off their arse. It was like, oh, I'm going to go though, because they're doing it. So if they're doing it, I'm going to do it. And before you know it, like I said, I'm trying to run through the woods and I'm looking at my phone the whole time and I'm falling over. It's raining, but it was brilliant. And it gave people that little jump to get out. And I think that for me is like the first kind of steps into looking after yourself. If you think you're suffering or you've got something going on, you can feel that something's not quite right, go and do something. Go and do some exercise, go and take your dog for a walk, go for a walk on your own. No podcast, no music, nothing. Go for a walk. Before you know it, these people on COVID run were walking, and weeks later, they're now doing their first ever 5K, because I put challenges out every week to everyone. Right, everyone, this week's challenge is 5K best effort. And people from all walks of life are going out and trying a 5K. They've never done a 5K in their lives. It took them an hour. I don't care. Who cares how long it takes? And they were buzzing because they're like, no, I did a 5K, did 5K today. And then it got stupid and we started doing silly things. But the premise behind it was those little things that you can do that keep you motivated and keep you happy and sane, before you go down the rabbit hole of being in a bad place. But like you said, at the same time, being in that bad place isn't, and then having to go and see a doctor, that's nothing to be ashamed of. Like, that's nothing
no, of course not.
to worry about. That's what it's there for, but just look after yourself at the same time. And that's.
I honestly think that you need to see a doctor, because who the fuck wants to run an ultra marathon?
I like them, actually. I think they're all right.
You're not right, mate. You're not right in the head. I had a buddy of mine on, Jake, the other day, and he does ultra marathon. He climbed Everest as well.
I've listened to it. Yeah, I listened to this podcast.
Yeah, you're fucking mental. But I'm RAF regiment, so I can only do 5 miles, and then we die.
Yeah, but it's a tough 5 miles. So not everyone's 5 miles are the same, right? So don't take that stick. Tell them it's the hardest 5 miles they'll ever do. They don't know.
It's a 5 miles death, mate.
I realized I only started running ultra marathons in 2019. So I've done P company, I've done all arms P company, I've done a couple of like army courses, but I was never I still now wouldn't call myself very fit. Like especially in running, I'm just like a guy. I'm just like a bloke. Yeah. When I joined the army, and all through tours, different OTXs, all these different things we've done, I'm just normal. Like nothing really particularly special about me at all. That's why I didn't get promoted for a very long time. But that's another story. But it was in Kenya one year in 2019. We got stuck in lab for a while, which is like if you're air base, it's nothing. It's like a horrible little compound. We got bored, and we ended up doing a half marathon around the camp because we were bored. And that night, I thought, do you know what? I'm going to give myself a bit of a mad goal. I'm going to do some charity work, because I've not done it for a while and I love it. I really love doing charity work. Before you know it, I'd signed up to a 50 miler. And I'd never done a marathon or anything like that. I'd never run further than I tabbed 20 miles is basically the longest I'd done, which was P company. So I got back from Kenya and was like, how do you run an ultra marathon?
Yeah.
What even is it? What a stupid idea. It started to sink in that I'd signed up to run 50 miles. And did some training, did a marathon, felt good, got to the start line of this 50 miler. And I've never been to this thing, so I'm looking left and right. And there's old people, fat people, skinny people, males, female, people with no legs. There's every walk of life. And I'm like, I'm going to smash all these people. I'm like fit, strong.
I've got a fucking maroon lid. I'm going to smash.
Yeah, look how hard as fuck I am. Watch what happens to you lot. I got trashed. Like all these people at the start line are like I said, everything. Fat people, old people. And I'm like, look, I'm going to see you later. And off I go. I'm running this 50 miler, cruising, did the first marathon. So it's 50 miles. So 26 first marathon. I did it like pretty quick. I did it in like less than 4 hours. I'm cruising, I feel amazing. Then it hit me. This thing that happens in the ultra marathon, the wall, the pain cave, the destroyer, the wheels came off, everything went wrong. And it took me a long time. And as I'm suffering through these sections, here comes the fat guy. Hello, mate. Here comes the guy with one leg. Hello, mate. Here comes the chick. And I thought, what's happened here? I don't understand. I don't understand.
Yeah.
It's different. It's different. And I learned now, I mean, I've done, without like sounding like a knob, I don't know how many I've done anymore. You're probably talking, since 2019, I've probably done, it's a lot. It's like double figures at least.
Yeah.
So double figures. And I got better at it because I learned the reason that these weirdos do this thing called an ultra marathon, these absolute psychopaths, is because of that moment that I was talking about, the pain cave. That bit that it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter if you're you know, you've done your 5 mile of death, you've done peak, you're a command. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. It gets you. It gets you and it spits you out back, and you're just a mess. It doesn't matter who you are. And the important bit that I found with ultramarathon is once you get there, because you'll get there, what do you do now? And once you get through the pain cave, which you'll probably hit multiple times, depending on the race, once you get out of it, it's the best feeling in the world. It's just one of those feelings that it's the same as jumping out of a plane. It's the same as flying across a wadi in a women. You know, it's all that stuff that just hairs on end, prickly, and all that kind of stuff. It's addictive. It's so addictive because, like I said, once you get into that pain cave, you are kind of stripped bare, and there's no one around you. Nobody else can get you through the pain cave. And every shit thing you've ever done and every insecurity you've got is there. And it, like your own worst thoughts, feelings, the demons, it's just you. And it gives you this time to process a lot of stuff. So if you're in the pain cave for a few hours, you've got that kind of monkey on your shoulder telling you you're shit. It's literally telling you to give up. It's like, you're shit. You shouldn't be here. You're not even, you know, you're this, you're that. Yeah. And you have to beat it, because if you don't beat it, you don't finish the run. You get to an aid station, you go, yeah, I'm done, mate, cheers. And you DNF, do not finish. But if you beat that voice in your head and you finish that race and you get this big, massive sense of pride and you're like, oh, I've done it, that translates to other areas of your life. Yeah. So when you're in like a bit of a dark spot, when you wake up in that and you've got one of those days where you are short-tempered and everything's doing your head in, but every little thing is making you want to smash someone's head in, because that happens. That stuff comes back to you and you're like, just take a minute. I'm having a shit time, which is normal. We all have shit times. I'm not a weirdo, I'm not a freak. Yes, I want to headbutt that person, but I'm just going to walk off, going to have a brew, think about my life, and then I'm going to crack on with it and be the bigger person, be the better person. And I found that kind of, it's weird how running has like crossed over into normal life like that for me, and the way I deal with problems and the way I deal with people and my own kind of bad days, you know.
I totally get it. It's I hate running. I've always hated running. I'm not built for running. I'm too thick. Thicker than a Snickers. Not built for running. But when I do go out and run, I do feel, I hate every second of it. But when I get home, I'm like, oh, I've accomplished something today.
Yeah.
I'll do it at work now every now and then. I'll come out of the office and I'll go, right, I'm going to put the vest on. I'm going to put the fucking pack on. I'm just going to go for a walk. And I'll literally go for 8 to 10K walk around the site, all the back roads in the fucking nature reserve and all that. Getting outside. A lot of people don't realise it. Just getting outside is so. It's nice.
It's so simple.
I even said it the other day to the missus and the kids. I went, let's go camping. And they were like, no. And I went, what?
No.
They were like, well, it's cold and it might rain. I went, yeah, but we'll be either in a tent or we'll get a bivvy sheet out. I know, it'll be fucking mint. I went, have you ever been out in like the forest and or a big open fucking field or whatever and just looked up and there's no light pollution. You can see all the stars. I was like, it's nothing better. She's like, no, I'm okay.
This is what I mean about those simple things. And I'm not saying, you know, I'm talking obviously about my experience with running ultra marathons, but I'm not saying people have to go and run an ultra marathon to get the benefit of physical fitness and being outside.
No,
I'm talking about, like you said, just giving yourself a goal, giving you, like you were talking about there, you stick your day sack on and go, oh, I'm just going to go out for an hour. No one cares how fast you do, or how far you go. I couldn't give a shit. No one cares.
yeah, but yeah, exactly. But also,
it's about you.
Not professional, so it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Like, I think people get like hung up on the idea of, oh, if I have to go for a run, I have to like run really hard and fast, because Strava and Instagram are going to laugh at me if I don't do X or Y.
Yeah, exactly.
No, ignore it. Turn it off. Don't go out. Don't go overwatch. Turn your phone off and go and do it for you. And before you know it, if you go out and do a bit of walk, jog, run, walk, I don't care. You might find that you enjoy it because you've not put some extra pressure on yourself. We're not going out to add pressure. We want to take it off. So don't make up this big thing that you've got to do. You look at what you Google, worst thing, Google, what is a good 10K time?
Yes, can't pretend I haven't done that before.
But not everyone's done it. I did it. Because when I was getting ready for that first ultra, I was like, what's a good time to run 50 miles? Oh, this time.
Did it come back? Shut up, dickhead. Who wants to run 50 miles?
Yeah, it's just like, next. But everyone does it. And it's like, no, take you're going outside and doing something physical to take that pressure and take that stress away from whatever's bothering you. Don't put extra stuff on there. That's mad. That's the opposite. And that's why people tend to hate running, because they'll go out and run as hard as they can for 10 whole minutes and pile in. It takes 10 minutes and you're done. You're like, I'm never doing this again. I'm never doing this again. Nah, I walk. I mean, people still get freaked out now. If I'm talking about my training runs leading up to an ultra, I go off time. So I'll go on a Saturday, for example, I'll run for 4 hours. And that's a loose thing I'm saying there, because I actually run the whole 4 hours. I take snacks. I take snacks. I'm not stupid. I'm not running for 4 hours. What a stupid idea. So I'm going to go out and run real steady and walk up every hill. I'm going to have lunch at a nice place out of my pack. I'm going to sit, like you were saying, in a big open field or at the beach or in the woods. I'm going to have a brew. And then I'm going to run the other 2 hours back home. And I feel good. I feel all that weight is gone. So don't like, you don't need to be pressured into
it's crazy, isn't it? Because we live in that life of Instagram and Facebook and things like that, and you see the people like, well, we'll take SAS who dares wins, for example. You see Ant Middleton and fucking Foxy and Ollie and them lot, they're all fucking beefcakes that run for days. They don't fucking run for days. Fuck off.
None of them are running. They're not running.
Look at the size on the cunts.
They're not running. They're doing cardio in the gym, which means they go in the treadmill and go for 10 minutes, then go back to biceps, which I've got no problem with. Good for them.
No, you gotta have the gun show.
But the point is, go and enjoy stuff. And I get a question a lot, and I think you said it to the, I think it was Jake. Is it Jake, the guy you were Everest guy? Yeah. Is the why. Like, why do all these stupid things? And everyone's slightly different in what their kind of extreme is and what their level of stupid is. So annoyingly, my level of stupid is now quite high, but that doesn't mean everybody else's level of stupid needs to be that high. So it could just be, it could just be your level of stupid is a half marathon. His level of stupid is his first ever 5K. That person's level of stupid is a 100-mile race. It doesn't matter what it is. Go give yourself that goal and go and do it and enjoy it. That's the thing. Don't worry about it. You're there to enjoy it.
But that's another thing that a lot of people don't sort of take on board, is that why are you doing it? What is the purpose of you doing it? Everybody's why is different, like you just said. I think just because, again,
everyone why is slightly different, but
just because
I've lost you there, mate. You've gone.
I think my internet
you've frozen
a bit funny. Give it a second, it'll catch back up again. It did this last time. Oh, we love a technical difficulty on the Granite Zero podcast. Has it gone completely?
No.
Is that my internet or yours?
I can see you again.
Fucking thing. It does this all the fucking time. I wonder if that will now reset the timer because we're on 40 minutes.
Mine still says 7 minutes.
That's right. That's cool. I'll send you another link in a minute and then we'll continue. But yeah, what I was saying was everybody's why is different. You don't have to go, right, Hilly's off doing 100 miles. I got to do that. No, you haven't. Just go out and do little. That's another thing, especially with like weight loss goals and things like that. Everyone's got this, I need to lose 4 stone. It's like, okay, that's the ultimate goal. You need the little goals to build up to the big goal. Otherwise, you're not going to get.
That's a massive thing.
And I'm a big one for that. I always set my goals too far ahead, and I'm like, why am I not getting to that fucking goal yet? And then I get fucking down on myself, and then I go, right, stop, fucking readjust. Let's fucking change the sights.
This is again where I'll draw parallels from when I'm doing an ultra. Like for example, if I run 100 miles, my big goal is to run 100 miles. Well done. But guess what? Each mile, I just take it a mile at a time. It's not like I'm constantly thinking about the next 24 hours. I'm not, because I'm going to be there all day. Don't worry about it. Yeah. So I think, just take it in turns. Like if you're on a race where it's got checkpoints, if you know each checkpoint is 10K, just live in that 10K and get that 10K. Do everything you're supposed to do in that 10K. And that translates then to everything else you're supposed to do. If my goal is to join the army, that's my big umbrella. There it is. I'm going to join the army. All right, slow down. All the way back down here. What's the first step that I've got to do? I've got to go to the recruitment office. I've got to do assessment center. All right, so what have I got to do at this assessment center? I've got to do this, got to do that, got to do that. Boom. There's your goal. Live in that moment, because that's what you've got to get right. Don't worry about what's going to happen when you go to basic training, and if your sergeant's going to be horrible or not. Don't worry about it. He is going to be horrible. Don't worry about it.
He is.
Live in that moment.
We're in a woke culture, so just complain to
us. You give him a red card and go, get out. But like, break it down. Don't get caught up in this massive goal. It's there, and it should always be there in the back of your mind as the why you're getting up early, or the why you're doing extra hours at work, or the why you're studying in your own time, whatever your goal is, because it's not just about fitness. It could be that personal development, that self-development, and making sure that you're doing, again, the things that you want to do, right? So slow down a little bit and break it down into manageable chunks, and you'll find that you can actually do these things.
But yeah, you hit the nail on the head again there, and it draws a parallel to everything in life, that we need to slow down and not want everything so fast. So
yeah, big
everything now is, well, you got fast food, fast internet, fast cars, fast phone, fucking Instagram. Everything's fast now. You don't sit down and watch a 20-minute fucking, well, even podcast now. Like, even most people don't sit down and watch a whole podcast now, because they're fucking hell, that's an hour. It's an hour podcast. That's too long.
Yeah, it's too long. I've got things to do.
I need to watch the snippet. It's like my buddy mate said to me, he said, you need to start doing a bit more snippets of your podcast and putting them out more. And I went, I can't be asked. Basically, that's the main thing. It's like, oh, everybody's watching reels. I went, yeah, but you're not going to get the gist of the podcast in a reel.
But you're right in what you're saying, that people can't be bothered to sit and listen to a full conversation. They just want somebody to come out with that perfect Goggins line. Goggins will come out with something for 30 to 40 seconds. It's perfect. Yeah, this is what it does. That's what they do. This is what they're there to.
I literally listened to Goggins the other day on. It was when I was going on my tab. I had Goggins on Rogan, and I was listening. I listened to the whole 3-hour fucking podcast.
Yeah, I do.
And I was like, he comes out with some fucking shit like constantly. He's like quick fire, everything. All the stories fucking cool. And I was like, that's fucking brilliant. But also, like, if I wasn't going on this tab, I would be like, I'm not listening to 3 hours of Joe Rogan.
Correct.
Okay. Which, to be fair, I normally have him on in the background in my office, but
I'm the same. I listen to podcasts on my long runs because it keeps me from getting a bit too overexcited. And like, if I put thrash metal music on in my ears, I'm like,
you put music on and you get fucking Kasabian or something, and it's like, oh, and you're like, fucking yes. Oh, fucked.
But again, this comes back to like why I like the running thing, because I can go out. If I do go out for 4 hours on a Saturday, which is normally the plan, I'll bang out a whole podcast. And like you're saying, it's not the snippet, it's not that little quality quote that gets turned into everything. It's the whole story. It's the whole understanding of why that because that point, that little reel, has been built up for 20 minutes. They've been talking about, say, mental health for 20 minutes. And then at the end of that, somebody will come out with a really powerful summary of that conversation. But you miss the little bits of gold, like you miss the little bits that are in there that might resonate with you more than other people.
Yeah, I'll make little clips of each show. I'll do one from the audio and then I'll do one from the video. But it's the reason why other podcasts have so many different snippets and reels and things like that is because they have a fucking bloke that does it.
Yeah, they've got the editor.
I've got a full-time job and fucking 2 kids to. I don't have a producer that's going, right, I'll sort that out. You go and chill out and have another beer.
Hey, well, that's it now. That's the next step, isn't it? You need a producer in the shedio with a whole suite of editing software.
Oh, originally it was my brother, but my brother, he has got a fucking an annoying job. He's a chef, so he's constantly at work, but he knows all the technical side better than I'm fucking techno mong me. But I used to send it over to him and say, "Can you sort this out?" But then I'll be waiting for the episode to come back to me to put out.
Yeah.
And then I found Zoom, and Zoom fucking edits it all for you.
Yeah.
So unless somebody makes a huge error in the show, I don't have to edit anything.
Put it out.
There have been.
But you sat there. Yeah, you sat there listening to going, don't say that. No. Let's change the subject. Quick.
With my missus' cousin came in. Because I like doing shows where it's just 2 fucking blokes having a conversation about anything. The fucking conversation go anywhere. And we were talking about aliens and he came out with this line and I went, you fucking idiot. And I was like, why have you said that? When I've said silly things about trans and fucking. And we're back.
I didn't realise it literally just bins you. You're like, you're done.
Get out. But yeah, I've said some silly things before where I thought I might get cancelled with this. But yeah, the thing that he said, I was like, oh God.
Yeah, I mean
that needs editing.
I mean, that's the weird thing about podcasts when you get relaxed and you get quite loose, and it's not. Let's do the other thing with these big podcasts. People have got to remember that they're often paid, they're often promoting, they're not always there just for a laugh. You see that with Rogan when he gets smashed off his face with his mates, versus when he's doing a podcast with someone who's bringing a book out. Very different, like completely different podcasts.
Yes,
and I think he's never going to get in trouble really because he's Rogan, but it can be easy to just forget that this is something that you're putting out for other people to appreciate. Because again, somebody might listen to any podcast anywhere and go, what he's just said was mental, but I liked it.
Yes.
Like that works for me. I don't know who he is. That guy's an idiot. But what he's just said works for me. But then you can ruin it all by going,
blah, blah.
Saying something. So again, though, that's a shout out to you for putting yourself out there. And when you're talking about really personal stuff like mental health, you can portray yourself you're basically putting yourself out there.
Oh yeah, I did, and I have been a target, and since being a target, I've also had people come up and apologize to me as well, to say, look, sorry that I did this at the start, I didn't understand.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, now you do, well done.
But that's the whole point of doing it, because it's giving people information.
Yeah,
you know, it's giving people real life information, because again, we're normal, right? We're just blokes, and normal blokes aren't the same. We all have different things.
We're all fucking different, mate. We're all different.
So some people cope with things differently. Some people talk about their feelings. Some people don't. We're all different. You can piss people off just by saying, hey, I don't mind talking about things, and it triggers people straight away anyway.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I like to try, and I've tried to vary my guests as much as I can at the minute, because I found that I was either going towards like fighters or military guys, because well, I like both. Do you know what I mean? I find it easier to talk about that stuff, and I was like, and then when I started getting out there and getting musicians on and comedians and well, just fucking Joe Blogs down the road, whoever, I would find that I'd get more anxious about those conversations, because I don't know where that conversation's going. When I'm talking to my squaddy mates, I sort of know where that's going. When I have fucking Mason Jones on, I know we're going to be talking about fighting, about what he's doing and things like that. And so,
but it's good, because you're opening yourself up to, because remember, again, go back to the very beginning of this chat, do things for yourself as well.
Yeah.
And like, when you sit there and have to listen to some absolute lunatic, for the people we've never met before. Like we've chatted on Instagram very briefly.
Yeah.
But we learn from each other just from a conversation.
It's literally I'd say about 98% of the people that I've had on the show, I've never spoke to in like real life.
And it's nice, isn't it? It's nice to do that, because you bounce off, whether you agree or disagree with each other, you're opening yourself up to somebody's way of thinking.
I've only ever had one bad interview, and that's been buried. I think you listening to the show, you probably know that I've spoke about that a couple of times.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
But yeah, that's buried. That's gone. That's
I was waiting for that, and it's this one.
Nah, it's this one. You're all right. You're sound. I'll keep you on. But it's just that was just a strange one. Like, I'll send you a message for who it was later. But like, if you can't sit and have a conversation with someone, like if you don't want to be there, then just say. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a strange thing, but
it's about being selfish, though, looking after yourself. If you don't want to put with somebody's bullshit, don't do it. Which isn't like the to-do thing. You're supposed to be super open and stuff, which I get. We've talked about it, but at the same time, do stuff for yourself. And if I don't want to put up with somebody's bullshit, I'm not going to be a knob about it. I'm just going to go, listen, I've got to go. See you later. Yeah. I'm going to get on with my life somewhere. I'm not going to kick off.
I'm offended.
Good.
I like that. I like that. What made you want to join the army?
Do you know what?
We'll get into that bit now. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny one. I always wanted to be. You
wanted to be in the Air Force Regiment?
I didn't get in. Couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it.
Not good looking enough.
Wow.
Tiny penis, all that kind of stuff.
did not want to stay in hotels, so
I didn't feel like it.
Nobody, body armor.
Yeah, apart from my granddad, who was obviously in the war, nobody in my family was in the army. Like nobody, there was no links to it. It was a random. In the last year of school, pretty much, I was pretty much dead set on being a teacher. That's what I wanted to do. And then one day, not long after, basically, it's probably 9/11 was a trigger, where you see we're in the UK. You're proper sheltered from a lot of stuff, like your lifespan. I grew up in a little northern little lovely place, and it was normal. It was just like really normal, there's nothing going on. And then when that happened, it made me look at different things. And obviously, I'd learned about history in school, and I knew about war and the army and all this kind of stuff. But I never thought about it. Do you know what I mean? I was never like, oh, that's me. I wasn't that guy who was when he was in cadets and all that kind of stuff. And I just one day I said to my mum, I said, I think I'm going to join the army. She went, you what? Like, yeah, I think I'm going to join the army. And before you know it, I'm in a careers office. I'm 16 years old and I'm in the army. That quick. It was GCSEs, army, I'm gone. See you later. That was 19 years ago. And to this day, I can't answer the question of why. And the more I thought about it quite a lot.
The more you think about it, the more it goes, I'm not going to tell you why.
No, I genuinely think it was 9/11 stuff. Yeah. I think subconsciously, I don't think I didn't have this mad moment where I was like, time to go.
Like a lot of Americans did. A lot of the Americans went, we're going.
Yeah. It wasn't
it
like
brought
that.
The nation together. I'll give them that.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if they did do it themselves. Well,
see, you've done it now. That's it. No, I still don't know. I still don't really know what it was, but I can't really imagine my life from 16 to 19 years later. I don't know what I would have done. I can't see what I would have done because I feel like this has been my life, and it's been my entire adult life, and I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't, I made loads of mistakes, and I was pretty shit when I first joined. I was really bad. I didn't get promoted to Landshack for over like 7 years. I was like a Tom for 7 years. I wasn't even like a bad boy, or wasn't always in trouble. I was
just grey man.
I was just shit. Yeah, I didn't do anything. I was just, not very fit, not very motivated. I didn't know what I was doing. And then the army thing really started to tick in, and I started to get it about 8 years in. It's probably 8 years into the army where I started being good is a strong word, but doing stuff. I got it, and I knew what I was doing, and I was good at my jobs, and I was developing leadership skills and management. I was in charge of stuff, and boom, it was that first rank for me. The first rank that I got solidified I was going to stay in, and I was going to push pretty hard and work hard. And I wouldn't change it. I maybe would have got promoted quicker if I could change that, because money, but
yeah,
wasn't meant to be.
Fair enough. Like, it's amazing how the career sort of I was always supposed to be a lifer. I was always going to be a lifer. And then getting married and having my firstborn, I was like, no, I need to not be here. I need to be I need to be family man.
Well, it's so intense where we are as well with the brigade that we're in. It's obviously all this high readiness stuff, which means not only are we constantly kind of doing stuff, but I've been on like readiness forever, like my whole time in the army, kind of ready to go, and it's intense. It's just constant, because our kind of for those non-military people, the military have to do annual fitness standards and training standards, very, very basic stuff, but it's every year you do this and you do that and you do this. Next to that is all the mad exercises that you've got to do to be competent at your job. 16 Brigade is double. So like just your standard fitness test, we do it twice rather than just once.
Well, it makes sense.
It does, but it lends itself to this kind of madness that this place is. And when you've been in it for such a long time, it's a bit mad. It's a really difficult place to be with a family. I don't have kids. A choice me and my missus made a very long time ago. We don't have kids. I can see how it's such.
It was.
Life is hard.
Like when I was even when I first met her, we went to Iraq in 2009, which is when we were a young couple then, you might say. And even then that was hard. And then got engaged, then got married. Well, got engaged, had our firstborn, and then got married. And like in between that, we did Kandahar, and then I went to Bastion. I was like, I came back from Bastion, and my eldest didn't even know who I was. She was like, who's this bloke? But it was just too hard, and I had to do it. But previous to that, I was always sort of pushed down a bit, which was annoying. I was semi decent at my job. I wouldn't say I was outstanding. I wouldn't say I was shit. I was sort of in the middle. When it came to comms, though, I was shit hot at comms. I ended up on HQ doing fucking radios and all that. I was the flight signaler for Kandahar and I think I was a Basra, but I'm not sure. But I always wanted to then go that step further. I wanted to be TAC P. I wanted to be a forward air controller. Every time I put in for it, no, we need you on the squadron to do this.
Because you're doing it, yeah.
And it's like, no, I want to further my career. I actually wanted to go to 16 Air Assault. I wanted to do that. I wanted to be part of the brigade as a forward air controller, and then maybe branch out, fucking SFSG, maybe, etc. That was my goal. And every time I wanted to do it, I got pushed back. I was like, fuck this. And then I literally got to that point where it was, nah, fuck this. Mrs. getting pissed off because I'm coming home. I'm not progressing. I came off my fucking Lance Jack course because I got glass ankles.
Well, this is it. It's hard, isn't it? Because what people don't realize about military service is it's not just the tours. Like tours are the best things we ever do. Like hands down, like the best things you'll ever do.
Hands down, the best times of my life was away.
Yeah, I mean, forever. It'll be with me forever and ever. But what the average person doesn't understand is what comes before and after.
Yeah.
If you're going to deploy somewhere, you are not at home for a very long time before you deploy. Like you are busy.
Yeah, it's literally brief times, isn't it? It's like, okay, you've got maybe the odd weekend here or there, or you may get a bit of block leave, maybe a week. But it's constantly, you're doing ranges, you're doing live firing, you're going on exercise, you're doing pre-deployment.
And the thing that's hard to accept for families is that it's necessary.
Yes.
But you're not doing it because you don't want to go home. You're not doing it because some knobhead obviously some knobhead's making you.
Definitely.
But there's a reason, like especially if you're going on tour, you need to soak in everything. You know, you need to do every bit of PDT you can find. But it just makes you busy. And I see why that's really hard for people. And I think the reason being in the army so long now for me has been the way it is because we've been married a long time. Don't ask me how long because she'll fill me in if she watches this podcast and I say, I don't know, long time. But we made that decision, and when we first met, she knew that that's what I did, and it's been like that ever since. And it's by no means easy. But again, that's all the way back to the beginning of the chat. Looking after yourself, and then the people that are around you is hard when you're in the military because you're often career driven.
Yes.
The military has a reporting system that allows you to progress, and you can progress if you're good, essentially. And if you do the things that you need to do to promote, you will promote and you'll move. But if you hold back and don't want to do those things because of external pressure from home and all that kind of stuff, that's when it starts to become hard. And then you have to make a decision of where do I want to be in
exactly,
5 years? Do I want to be a Tom on a gun line somewhere, or do I want to be at home? And it's hard. I get it. It's hard. And again, though, for me, I've got a few years left before I do the opposite now and go, oh, I need a job.
That's a difficult transition, especially for someone who's served as long as you. It's
I've never had a job.
It's like, what transferable skills are you going to take now from what you do to
well, I say to people all the time, I've never had a job. Like I literally came out.
My old man
school.
was the same.
Yeah, I was in the army. The day that my mum got the GCSE results, I was off. Like that was me in Purbright. Like I was gone. And I don't, it's a scary thought, changing what we've been doing for so long.
Definitely. I say to my old man now, he hasn't really had a proper job. He's like,
it's mad, isn't it? It's
like,
crazy.
What do you mean? So my old man did 22 years in the Air Force as a jump instructor. He then came out of that and went into the prison service, and then he came out of the prison service after 20 years. So he did 22 in the Air Force, 20 years in the prison service, and now he does. He's on the circuit doing RST. So he literally sits in a house all the time. It's like, you haven't had a proper job. I'm not having it.
You've never had 9 to 5. What's wrong with you?
I think no, that's a lie. Before he got his job with prison service, he did try and sell insurance for a bit, and he couldn't do it. So
yeah. Well, I'm part of a little team on the side for a company called Be Military Fit, which is it's owned by Bear Grylls now, which funnily enough, but they are with a contract with Capita in the army, and it's trying to get people.
Yeah, BMF.
So it's BMF, yeah, BMF, and it's I'm dealing with people that are. It's mad because in my own personal life, I'm thinking about the end. Like I'm now trying to switch fire to what's going to benefit me and my family, my dogs, when I leave the army. That's what I've got to concentrate on that now. But at the same time, I've got these people who are, age ranging from 16 up to a couple in the 30s, and I'm trying to get them on that first step, which is the assessment center and army fitness standards. And I'm laughing to myself all the time because I can see the exact same thing, exactly what they're going through, their anxiety, their issues, exactly the same as what I was doing.
Would you try and do there's one in London, I think. There's like a military college. It's like a sixth form college, but you're sort of an instructor. A buddy of mine that I serve with, he's doing really well there. He was on the Elite 2 squadron. Fake paras. That's gonna cause some fucking ripples. That is fake paras.
Wait for your comment section. No, I'm not.
How dare you say that? We are a maroon machine.
I'm not saying anything. We'll again cut. You've done it twice now. In this half.
I'm allowed to.
You're allowed. No, it's funny. It's funny watching that we have the same anxieties, and for people who are, and this isn't just an army thing. Go back to what we were talking about before about doing things for you, and even with like you were talking about there, with getting out of the military is a massive step. So what we're actually talking about is change and challenge. So whenever you've got to make a big decision, a big life decision that's going to challenge you and it's going to change everything about you, sometimes they're the best things you can ever do.
Oh, definitely.
Like they're so good. Like if you're struggling and you're just stagnant and you're just plateauing in life and you don't really, you're not doing well, things aren't going well, make a change, do something. And that's what I find a lot of these guys are doing on the program at the moment. I want to join the army. They don't, a little bit like me, they're like drawn to it. They don't really know why.
Yeah.
But they're giving up a job. They've got normal jobs, but they just feel like they need to do it. And props to these people, because I just turned up after school one day. Yeah. One day I'm in school, one day I'm like a recruit in Burbright. Whereas when you make a big change like that, I think it's really scary.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a few people out there, I'm one included. It's a legacy thing as well. Like my granddad was in the Air Force, my dad was in the Air Force, and it was like, well,
yeah,
my brother can't because he's severely asthmatic. He can barely breathe. It's like, well, it's going to have to be me then, isn't it? I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to do it. And it was, but I had it in my head at a young age. I remember even going into the careers office at college. They were going, so what university are you going to apply for or whatever? I was like, I'm joining the Air Force. I was like, I'm only here to get my BTEC in sports. I wanted to be a PTI. Because in the Air Force, you can go straight in. And that's what I wanted to do. My dad did it, and that was what I wanted to do. Because at that time, I was a personal trainer, and I was like, I'm good at that. Went and did the aptitude test, and they were like, can't do that, mate. I was like, what? I don't test well, basically. So I went into this aptitude test. I looked at it, and I was like,
what is this?
What is this? Fuck up. But I remember sitting there. I remember being in the AFCO, and I went, but I've got higher qualifications than
your PTIs.
And they were like, that doesn't matter. I was like, what? What do you mean? in a civvy head, it's like, what do you mean?
Yeah, because you're doing that massive mistake, especially army this. You're applying common sense.
Yes.
You don't like that, you need to calm down.
Stop that.
I'm right, you're wrong.
Holster those pistols
You
chill
need to
out.
calm down.
Here's what you can do. I was like,
Yes.
right, what can I do?
But I love it. I love listening to their stories about kind of, I'm just impressed because I just remember just turning up and doing it. Whereas these guys now, because there's so I was in the kind of recruiting process in 2001, 2002. So that's when I was going through. And there was nothing, like, you didn't have what we do now, which is instant access to everything.
Yes, yeah.
So I wasn't freaking out about stuff because I didn't know anything. I just knew I was going to go to a careers office, and then I had to go to Edinburgh of all places and leg it round 1.5 miles. I'd never run 1.5 miles. I don't know, but I'm 16. I just go and run it, whatever. Yeah. Whereas now, because we've got so much information,
isn't it? And you can even YouTube it. You can like go on and go YouTube basic training, army, infantry.
Everything. You can find out everything, and that information can often lead to more anxiety. It's doing the opposite of what people want it to do, because they want it to say, don't worry, this will be really easy, you can just turn up. And it's not. It's people talking in depth about how to run a 2K best effort.
Yes.
Then they start thinking, right, going, foot strike, technique, what? You're like, no, stop watching this stuff. Just go and do it. Just go and give it your best. That's literally what recruitment is about. What we look at when we see people is people who turn up and give it 1,000%. That's the main, that's it. That's that magic thing. And then, yes, we have a standard that you've got to reach. But for the most part, if you just go max effort and put it all in, you're going to get through. You're going to do well. And I wish people would stop overthinking things like that. You know, just go and, again, what we were talking about before, just go and live it, just go and do it, just go and throw yourself straight at it. Because it's so easy now to look at stuff.
Definitely in military terms as well. You just got to live the experience now, especially in the fact that all the theatres have all sort of calmed down, as it were, at the minute. Not that it's not going to kick off at some points, because something will happen. But
aliens,
yeah. They're already here.
Cool.
But do you know what I mean? There's more, like, I remember my old man saying, he got to see everything. Like, he was out in fucking parachuting in California, South Africa, he basically traveled the world, and he was like, I traveled the world. I was like, cool. I'm in the Air Force, I'm going to travel the world. And I remember getting there, and then he was like, right, you're getting ready to go to Iraq. It's like, oh, brilliant.
It's a nice part of the world.
Yeah, lovely. And then the following year, pretty much almost identical. It was like almost a year straight on. You're going to Kandahar, Afghanistan. Sorry. Like, oh, brilliant.
Also a lovely place.
Then we had a brief period where it was like, oh, just chill out for a minute, and it's, oh, you're going to Bastion. Oh, brilliant.
I mean, again, though, I wouldn't, to people who are, I'm sure, like some of the guys off BF will listen to this. It's like, again, I still wouldn't change anything. I've done something.
I'd love to go. I would go back and relive it if I could.
It's definitely changed. It's definitely changed a lot. In a lot of ways, it's changed for the better. Like we were talking about at the beginning, that soldiers are looked after very differently to when I was a Tom. You know, it's very different, and that's good in a lot of ways because people are different, and we have to look after people in the way that they need it, not the way that I decide. You know, I'm not the be all and end all of everything. We're all different, so it's good. It's a good thing. And again, I wouldn't change it. Like your old man saying, I'm mad stuff. I've been all over the place, and their experiences that have shaped everything that I'm about. And even now, as I look towards the end, I can take all those experiences, and let's not talk about like the qualifications that I'm taking over. I'm going to have 22 years of mad stuff to draw on all the time. And what that offers to a lot of people in the normal world, it's almost invaluable sometimes, because you can't buy that stuff. You can't go to university and learn how to deal with people in the most intensive situations.
No.
You know, it's it's a very different environment to learning, you know, theory, to actually being in charge of other humans that are actively engaging with other humans that aren't very nice. Like there's a lot of pressure there. There's a lot of pressure, and that is, it's life-changing stuff, isn't it? It's just so important. And again, I'll take that. And I apply it now. I apply it to everything, and it still works. So join. It's good. There you go. There's my recruitment ad done.
Boom, boom. Is the recruitment advert still fucking really shit? Like, you're a gamer, you've got a job here.
So do you know what's funny? So those adverts were actually in Capita's eyes and the army. They worked because their recruitment did go up through those adverts. So it's us lot that don't like them. Like we don't like. I don't like them. I mean, they're terrible.
Yeah.
But it worked because, and again, this is where we are. You've got to look now past what we think to what. Who are we recruiting? I'm not trying to recruit you.
No,
no one would try and recruit me anymore. We'd be shit. But we've got to look at these people and go, well, this is the generation that we're recruiting. This is what drives them. And it did work, and it does bring those people in. What then has to happen is we are trying, the army's at this point where it's got its model of what we need to achieve and what we need to do. And we've got these people coming in, and it's about meeting in the middle of getting the best out of everybody whilst not making it absolutely shit for them.
Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? Because obviously, I'm trying to word this right, because you don't want everyone to be the same, but also you do need everyone to be the same.
Yeah, you do. And again,
in terms of, we're recruiting you because we need you to do the job. You're an army, if we say infantry, because that's my background. If you're an infantry soldier, your job is to kill people.
Yeah.
That's basically the job of it. Whether you do it or not is not. So trying to recruit someone in that's not that minded and then trying to mold them.
Well, again, I'm
guessing, is there a big turnaround with people coming in and going out or leaving basic training?
So it's different. It's different to, I think the stats would show that people are joining for different amounts of time.
Yeah.
Whereas I'd say the average person who joined up when I did was a lifer. So it was uncommon to have people who didn't sign up for forever, basically. Whereas people are smart now, they're savvy about things, and they plan things different because, like we said before, that information's there to understand and digest. I think what's interesting is exactly what you've just said, where when you join the army, whatever your cat badge is, not just the army, to be fair, like whatever you join to serve, it is just that. We are here to serve, and the mission of the military, and again, let's go with big goals and then little things. The army's mission, the UK's mission, and then your individual cat badge and unit's mission, they're all linked.
Yeah.
So let's then go back to Gunner Blogs, this guy who's just joined. Well, let's use me as an example, because you're talking about molding people. It took me 7 years.
Yeah.
Like I got in the army and it took me 7 years. And in that 7 years, I've been on tour. Like I did Herrick 4, and Herrick 4 was like the Wild West.
You fucking sweat.
It was crazy. I'm sweating. But like it was crazy. And it still took me a long time to develop into what the army deemed as the right person. So I think we just have to adjust what we think. So as a person who sees brand new people come to a unit, it's going to take time. Some people are in it straight away, like that guy, yes. Like they're all over it. Some people, like me, take time. And that hasn't changed. It's just the way we now have to not mold, but I'm trying to think of the word, is progress these people and develop.
Yeah, I get that.
It's not so much about locking people in a cage and shouting at them anymore. It's getting them on the right path to where they should be, because we as the military have got the standard. This is where you'll be, and we just have to get them there. And some people take longer, and that's okay. That's okay, because we're all different. Again, some people would disagree with me. Some people would be it's hard. It's just hard. It's hard to get.
We're
to
living
really
hard
make it
times
count.
though at the minute, and it's kind of makes you think, like with people now looking, well, I'm going to try the army for a bit, and then I'm going to come out and I'm going to go and do this job, etc., etc. I want that little bit of life experience. It's almost as though it's like, shall we bring back national service so that kids come in, do that chunk. If they want to stay and be a lifer, then you sign on. If not, cheers for your time.
Yeah,
there you go.
It's an interesting concept, because I know a lot of people talk about, and they straight away, and I've already done it on the chat today, is talk about generation. Well, my generation was this, and this generation is this. So I think, because my generation were all nails, I think this generation should get a kick up the arse and go national service, and they'll stop being little shits. So I understand that point of view. I do.
Because this
generation. But I'm
Oh,
also looking at it from a professional point of view with what I do for a living, and I'm going, I don't want people who've been made to come and work.
I also, I do get that side of it.
This is the two.
Something.
Yeah.
Like, for example, we'll take my brother, for example. If my brother ever got made to do anything, he digs his heels in and becomes a complete cunt. For example, me and my dad support Man United. My brother supports Arsenal. And it all came down to a game when we were kids. My dad was like, "You're supporting Man United in this game," and my brother looked at the TV and it was Man United Arsenal, and he went, "No, I'm going to support Arsenal," because my dad said you're doing that. So he's one of those, and you would get a load of kids that the vape brigade that you see out of school.
And again,
annoying. Why do they vape so much?
I'm a bit confused about vaping. But I don't smoke either. I've never smoked.
No, I don't smoke. I'll have the occasional cigar on a special occasion.
We've all smoked.
I've never been a smoker. I've never been a vapor. And I literally picked my girls up from school, and the secondary school are coming out, and they all get out of school and they pull out these fucking vape sticks. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? It's like, I remember being at school and the cool kids smoked, or did a bit of weed, sure. But even then, they weren't like just fucking blazing up constantly.
It cracks me up because I don't get it. I mean, I just not.
You look like a cunt, though, don't you?
Like, why are you doing? Just have a fag at this point. But not kids. Kids, listen. If you're watching, don't go out and have fags.
They're not allowed to watch. You've got to be 18.
Good, little bastards. Nah, it's interesting, isn't it? And again, you talk about that you're. When you were in school, it was this way. When I was in school, it was this way. When he was in school, and she was in school. And now the guys are this way. And instead of what we do, which is start to kick off about it and say, let's throw everybody in national service, get them thrashed, make them understand what it's like to have a hard life. I get that. And I think about it all the time when you've got like, I'll make a mistake of watching like a police program and some little chavvy bastard will spit on a policeman. And I'm like, this is why I'm not a policeman. That's why I'm not pleased. I'd eat his face. I'd literally kill him.
I get it at work, mate. I do. I'm a site security manager now, so we have to deal with youths regularly, and it's like you go and talk to them and say, "This is private land. Can you please move?" And they're like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Like,
I remember once I took my camera off when I was an officer. When I was an officer, not a manager, took my camera off, and I was basically I had a little word with him.
and I get it, that these people are the way they are now. Now that doesn't mean that something like service wouldn't be a bad thing, because you see some of the best soldiers I've ever known are absolute maniac spastics. Like if they weren't in the army, like they're either dead or in prison. I don't know that they are made to be in the army, because it gives you 3 meals a day, gives you somewhere to live, and a bloke literally writes out on a piece of paper what you're going to do for the week, what you're going to do for 6 months, for a year.
Yeah, like, and if you do step out of line, you're in the shit.
Yeah, you get in trouble.
And it's not like a little bit of shit. You're in the shit.
Yeah, and some people need it. And again, I'll go back to that personal experience of me, where a lot of I've never spoke to them about it, but the people who were like my sergeant majors when I was a Tom probably thought I was just going to leave because I was rubbish. They were probably waiting for me to fuck up so they could get rid of me. But once I'd been given a bit of responsibility and actually found my feet, you know, me 19 years later. And that's what a lot of these people can do. That lads and ladies who are thinking about it, you know, give it a chance, because it might be the best thing you ever do.
Quite possibly.
Could be. Would conscription do that? I don't know.
We had a lad on our basic training. I won't name him just in case he does this, and I doubt he does. But he was so shit. He got recoursed, I don't know how many times, but he ended up on my course, made it all the way to exercise amiga, which is our final exercise, and he fucked up again, standard. But I remember having a chat on the end of course piss up, and I went, "What's happening with so and so then?" And he was like, "Well, we all had a meeting from the head sheds down to the fucking corporals, and we all had a meeting, and it came out that it was actually cheaper to pass him out, because obviously all the money they put into him getting recoursed, and they've spent, well, I can't remember how much, it's like 30 grand in it per soldier, something like that. But every time he got recourse, that's another money, load. Yeah. It's like, it's actually cheaper for us to pass him out into a squadron than it is for us to like kick him out of the military. It would have like
mental.
It was mental. They went, I went, so what squadron have you sent him to? And they went, well, we're sending him to Queen's Colour Squadron, because they will definitely get rid of him if he's shit.
No, I love it. I think yeah, I mean, I'm gonna we'll quickly, if you don't mind, we'll just change. I've just noticed we've only got 1 minute 30. Do you want to do another one?
Yeah, I'll ping another one over, and then we'll do a quick.
So I guess the only thing we've not talked about is that kind of the marathon disarm stuff that I didn't know if you wanted to.
Yes, well, we'll speak about that. So what I'll do? Oh, what have I fucking done here now? There we go. I'll ping it over. We'll get onto that, and then
we'll call it quits.
We'll call it quits, because I'm gonna make some bolognese.
I've just noticed what time it is as well. Yeah, I mean, it's up to you. We can either do another or whatever you want to do.
Well, we'll ping another one over, get that started, and get this marathon speak out, so that you can chat away on that, and then close it up.
All right, I'll see you in a minute.
All right, dude.
Testing.
Absolute pro at this now.
Yeah, I know. So I'll be quick, because quite a few I had friends message and talk about it. People are loving this chat about that race in particular, and why I just wanted to link it to the stuff that we've been talking about throughout the chat, because again, whatever your challenges or whatever your kind of comfort zone is, I think getting out of it and literally smashing it to pieces in some cases is the best thing you can ever do. And having goals and a why, it is super important. And my why for most of the dumb stuff that I've done has been charity work. 90% of it has been for mental health charities, military charities as well. Whether it's things like we raised tons of money to keep a zoo open, or during lockdown we raised over 11 grand for a zoo, or doing back-to-back marathons for suicide prevention. You know, there's all these different things, and the common theme through it is give yourself a reason why that runs parallel to your goal. And when I got into the marathon des Sables is 250k across the Sahara Desert. It's basically 7 days of running, and you carry all your food and equipment for the whole 7 days. So you don't get a resupply of anything. The only thing you'll get is bottles of water at the checkpoints, and you sleep on the floor under a little tarp that isn't there by the time you get back, because the sandstorms have knocked it down. And it is commonly known as the world's toughest foot race. And I found it to be one of the most, it was massive for me. But, you know, I had this goal of raising money for a charity, but secretly it was, and a lot of people don't admit this, but when they do charity work, it's quite selfish. You do charity work because A, yes, I want to raise loads of money for a charity, but B, I'm doing stuff and I want to add that energy to it because I do it. That's what people forget about. And I go back to the beginning, do things for you. And when I was talking to sponsors about kind of getting out to the MDS, one of the main things I talked about was trying to recapture that feeling from all the way back in, say, Herrick 4, where I was living in shit on rationed water, and for like upwards of 20 hours a day, you were massively in the shit.
Yeah.
But the other side of it is the bits that other people who aren't military and haven't been on tour don't understand, is the bits in between all the being in the shit. Is that camaraderie of sitting in the fob or sitting in the PB with nothing, no phone, no internet, no food, just with your mates, these people that you'll never ever forget, and having, there's nothing better than sitting around Hexy TV, is there? There's literally nothing better.
Yeah, just chatting shit.
Yeah. And what the Marathon des Sables does is it gives you these stages where you've got to run for the day, and then you get back to the bivouac and you've got a little tent, and you don't really know the people that you're going to be in a tent with. You have 8 people starting this tiny tent, and the tent's, it's not a tent, it's literally a tarp. And it's so small that you're all touching. So when you sleep, you're touching each other. And for, like you were talking about taking the wife and kids camping, they're not into that.
No.
So if you're like a normal person and you've now got to sleep in a DOS bag touching someone, they freak out. Like it's not normal. You've got shit in a bag. There's no toilets. You just have a poo bag. Like for your dogs, you just poo in it. There's no nice food. There's no one looks after you. It's just you. And it massively struck that chord for me of what I had on those early tours of being just bare bones. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it. And it hammered home that thing that I've been trying to push to people, which is get out of that comfort zone and do something that you are genuinely scared of being able to do. And I know that's in levels for different people, but I genuinely thought it wasn't 100% that I'd be able to finish the Marathon des Sables, 100%. No way. It was definitely in the air. Whereas I do an ultra marathon now, I'm pretty much going to finish it. Whether I'm not going to, I'm going to finish it. Whereas the MDS, you're talking 40-degree heat, 18 hours of running on some days across awful terrain. You're going to pile in. Everyone is. And it's what you do afterwards that finds it. And that just get out there and try that stuff. And again, that could just be your first ever 5K. It could be the first time you jump on a bike and do some mad downhill mountain biking or something. It doesn't matter. But I know a lot of people are interested in the why. And I think the charity stuff is super important. If you're going to put your energy into doing something mad, like an ultra marathon, do it for charity.
Yeah.
Do it for charity. You're already going to do it. There. We've all got an ability to help other people and make money for other people. It's not about you. You're doing it for the run is about you, or the event is about you. That's your, but at the side of it, you can make a lot of money for people who fucking need money. And people, listen, just put yourself out there. Have the balls or just have the courage to do something that you're not sure you're actually going to be able to complete.
Definitely. And yeah, it's the old saying, and you got to embrace discomfort.
100%.
Because once you're comfortable, things get easy, and then you just fucking chill out. It's like Goggins said. Goggins doesn't run because he's a good runner. He runs because he hates it.
Yeah.
He hates running. He's never liked running, but yeah, he runs fucking ultra marathons and
he's unreal as well.
Moab fucking 200 or whatever it is, and all that.
Insane. I just like a clear shout to people: go and embrace it, embrace that kind of difficulty, and sign up for something that you're not sure you can do, and go through the long nights and the early mornings of getting ready for it, and that little bit of trepidation of this nails.
I tell you what I really enjoy as well is when, because I've done a Spartan race, I did white collar boxing, I've done the football match, which we should be trying to do another one at some point. But in terms of the individual events that I did, the Spartan and the boxing, the training for it was what I really enjoyed, because I had that goal. I've got a fucking race to do at the end. I've got to fucking beat someone up at the end, which I did. Knocked him out, just saying. But it was like for the boxing, for example, I put myself into a fight camp. There was a lot of people that didn't train in the same way as what I did. I was doing fucking 2-a-days. I was fucking going out on runs. I was fucking
Well, this is it. It's because you've
shadow
got
boxing in the kitchen for no reason, which I still do because I don't know why I can't get out of that fucking thing. Kettle's boiling, fucking shadow boxing.
But you've given yourself a goal and you've got a time limit on it. So and once you tell people that you're doing it, that's you, like you're in it now, and it gives you that purpose. So again, back to that beginning of the conversation with COVID runner and all these different things we were doing. If you've not got a goal or you've got no clear defined reason to do stuff, you won't do it. Every excuse that comes knocking, I'm not going to get up at 4 a.m. to go and run 2 hours before work if I've not got a reason to do it. No one will. People don't do it. So give yourself something, give yourself a goal and a purpose. Before you know it, you're up every day. You're training twice a day. You're doing whatever it takes, because when it comes to race day or fight day or whatever it is, you're 100% fully prepared. And then the event, it's good. The training was the
events the nice bit.
Yeah, you enjoy it. Like, I was prepared for a marathon sub, so I knew that I was physically good, and I also knew through training and doing other races that when I hit the pain cave, which I did multiple times every day for hours at a time, I was mentally prepared for what it was going to put me through. And I knew I wouldn't break. I knew it. There was whatever happened, I was not going to break. I still didn't think I was 100% going to finish the race, but it wouldn't be my mental strength that broke. My legs might fall off, but I was prepared. And I think put yourself out and do that kind of stuff, and it's massive. It's so good for you.
Yeah, definitely. Here's a quick one though for you. When you were doing the event, were you able to like soak in where you were? Because obviously you're in fucking Sahara Desert, which is
good question.
An amazing sight on its own.
So
obviously you're in so much discomfort. You're running through it.
Yeah.
You ever stop and just go, this is fucking beautiful out here?
Yes. So I made a conscious decision. On day one, I ran pretty hard. So day one was a short. You don't find out the route, the distances, the elevation, the sand. You don't know anything until you get there. So I got there, and on day one, it was quite a short day. I thought, you know what? I'll go at it. I'll run pretty hard. So out of the 1,280 people that started that day, I ran hard and I finished in the top 150.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm fit. But when I was the first one back to my little tent, and I sat there, and my tent mates came in and went, oh, did you see that bit, that bit? And did you see that feature and this? And I'm like, I don't see nothing. Do you know what I looked at? The bloke's back, the lady's back in front of me, and the ground, and then I overtook, and I was gone. I didn't see nothing. And I kicked myself and I went, stop. Now what I'm going to do, middle of the pack, it's going to be hard because it's not nice, but I made a conscious effort to stand still every now and again and just go, yeah, this is mental. I mean, sometimes I didn't have a choice. We climbed like 10K of sand dunes, which destroys you. And then you've got to climb a mountain. You get to the top of the mountain. I'm taking a moment because I might die. My lungs are here. Like I'm taking a moment, but I made sure. You're exactly right. And that goes part and parcel with what we're talking about is remember you're doing it for you. And it's not just about, no one cares where you finish on the marathon. You're not going to win it. You're not going to win it. So enjoy the moment.
The reason why I sort of asked that is because I used to do it when we're out on tour, where you'd look out and you go, wow.
Yeah.
Look at that. And I've literally just popped into my head there. Speaking about you doing these fucking crazy runs and whatnot. He does it in Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Where he talks about his experiences that he's been through fucking some experiences, that fucking bloke. But he's like, I'm in Vietnam and it stops raining and I can see the stars when the clouds go. And he's like, or I'm running through the fucking desert and it was like, oh fucking yeah.
You've got to do it. And even in the UK, when I've done stuff in the UK, you know, I've had to take a moment just to appreciate what I'm able to do. Like to take a moment to just sit back and actually, blokes, we did this right at the beginning of the podcast when I said, well done. You're like, yeah. We don't allow ourselves to feel good and be proud of something that we've achieved. So every now and again, I'll stand there and be like, this is good. Like, I'm hammering. I'm happy. Yeah. I've raised loads of money for charity. I'm on top of a mountain in the Sahara, or I'm 20 hours into a 24-hour run in the UK, and I'm working. I'm in pain. I'm broken, but I'm still one foot in front of the other. I'm going to give myself a little moment here and say, hey, well done.
Pat on the back, my man.
Now I'm going to get on with it. Now I'm going to get on with it, because we get a bit funny about self-praise, but people should just go and try this stuff, because and you don't need to be super fit. You don't need to be a superhuman to do any of the things I've done. You don't need to be an athlete. You don't need to be a runner, a soldier, you don't need none of that. You just need to have a reason and a goal and embrace what's going to happen and come out of it the other end a way stronger individual. Maybe not physically, because your knees and ankles are broken, but your mindset will be like bulletproof, and it's invaluable.
Build the callous mind, as our man Goggins would say.
Correct.
What's next for you? What have you got next?
We're going to do some normal-ish ultras for the rest of the year. So I've got 3 booked in at the moment. I'm doing one for we're going to walk around London for 48 hours. That's coming up soon. I'm going to do a 24-hour event. I'm going to run for 24 hours straight in August. And every year, one of our local race companies, a good friend of mine, Pete, and his wife Bev, do a Remembrance ultra marathon. We take a gun down there, take one of the light guns down there, we fire it to start the race, and then it's 6 hours around a 6-mile loop. So I'll be doing that. And then quietly bubbling away is probably the plan for something big in 23. I'd quite like to run across the Arctic.
I thought you were going to say that.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I had it in my head earlier in the episode. I was like, I wonder if he's going to try and run across the Arctic.
That's probably it. And I think the planning, I'd like to do it, but I don't know how I'm going to do it, because stuff like that is moolah expensive. So I'll put something together, but I think that is the next big goal. And that then might be time to like can it, because I might die, and we'll see. But that is what I want to do. And that'll be a big old event for charity. I'll keep people posted on it. So if anybody knows anybody who lives in the Arctic, that would help.
Yeah.
Because I can sleep in.
Yeah.
Imagine. Hi, mate.
Right. I'm just going to run in a minute. Have
you got a brew? Because I am freezing. So we'll see. We will see. But yeah, that's going to be the big plan, I think. When that happens, I'm not sure, but that'll be a big do. I'm really looking forward to it. And that'll be a big challenge.
I think with the right sort of, if you get the right charity and the right sponsorship, I'm sure we could fucking get that.
I think it can happen. I think it can. It's just going to take a bit of work. It's got to be safe. You know, the MDS is a very expensive race to enter, but they have 2 helicopters flying around at all times.
Yeah, of course.
Untold amounts of medics in June buggies flying about. If I just fancy legging it across the Arctic on my own, that's not going to go well. I'm going to need something. So we'll see. But I'm excited about it.
We will see. Mr. Hill, been my fucking privilege, my honour to have you on.
Mine.
No, I'm not having it.
No, how dare you? Cut. Mate, honestly, I love it. Good chat. I know we've chatted for way longer than we thought we would, but no. I'm happy.
That's the signs of a good show if it goes on and on and on.
Mate, it's my pleasure, and I'd love to do it again. So
definitely.
Good luck with everything, and I look forward to seeing how big it gets. And when you get your editor with all this software, it's going to be amazing.
I'll go big, and then it'll be my actual job, and then I can just chill out.
I can't wait for
That's the dream. That's the dream.
All right, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. See you, mate.
Have the rest of your night.
Ciao. Bye, mate.